Dr. Andy Scarpati. Thank you so much for being on the Woo Report.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I mean, it's quite an honor to be invited by, I guess, your own daughter.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy we can make this work. We figured it out. We had some technical difficulties, but here we are. I've had a lot of people actually reach out asking if you were going to be on.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's really, I have to, really, Marilyn and I really enjoy your show. I mean,
thank you.
Kristen was so interesting, and David was great.
Yeah.
I mean, the past lives, everything is just, we really enjoy it.
Thank you. Thanks, Dad. All right. We're going to talk about hypnotherapy today. And we're also going to talk about something that I've heard you mention many times in the recent years, which is that you are doing your best to age backwards, which I feel like is something that we're all aging, but aging backwards sounds like something we all might want to learn more about.
Sure.
All right, but let's start with hypnotherapy. Give us a 101.
When you hear the word hypnosis, people go, what is hypnosis? It's simply a focused mental state. This ever happened to you? You're driving in your car and you're focused on your driving and you pass your exit. You wanted to turn there, but you were just thinking about something else. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is a focused mental state. Hypnosis is a tool to get to your subconscious mind. It's the part of our mind that basically is our computer program. You develop these habits and patterns of thinking, and people sometimes get to a point in their life where they're not particularly happy with a program that they have. Maybe it's a fear. Maybe they're anxious about something. Sometimes you could be anxious about something and not sure what it is. The average person has between 55,000 thoughts a day. Of those thoughts, 90 to 95% are the exact same thoughts we had yesterday. So we do operate in these mental patterns, okay? Now, if you're happy with your life, great. But if there's anything you want it to change or you want it to enhance, like I've helped people over the years with hypnosis with all kinds of things, playing sports better, speaking in front of other people better, whatever it is, because whatever you use your mind for, you can use this tool called hypnosis. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. That means it's up to us to either accept or not accept what is being said. And I love it. I just absolutely love it because I know what it's like to be in a situation where you want to change something about yourself or you want to do something and you just need a little help. You just need to go inward. And that's the big thing about hypnosis. It's going inward because all I do as the hypnotherapist is just talk. You make the changes. I'm just the guide. And I do brag, one of the best guides in the USA. I've been doing this for a long time. I know exactly, it doesn't matter what comes up, I could handle it. I could help someone through whatever it is. And over these years, this November will be 30 years I've been doing this now. And I just love it. I love helping people with this. Whatever it is you would like to change about yourself, you can do it. It's just a matter of focusing on it and doing it.
A theme on this podcast is that, it's an inside out world. It's an inside job. There are different tools that will help us and support us if we don't know exactly, if we're looking inside and it feels a little muddled or there's fear or there's anxiety. And so what's great about hypnotherapy, you've helped a lot of people. You helped my husband, Matt. He had some fears around COVID.
Yes, I've helped a few people with that. Yeah.
And it really helped him. It really helped him. And, he would be the first person to say it didn't help me. But he was changed. I'm curious now, before you jumped on the hypnotherapy train, what was your spiritual belief system then?
Well, I had heard about like past life. And I was like, what the heck is that? Mm-hmm. But at that very first hypnosis seminar, the last thing he did on the last day, Sunday afternoon, he goes, we're going to do a past life regression. And I just said to myself, Andy, just close your eyes, relax, and just enjoy yourself and see what happens. And I had a really interesting experience.
Wait, I want to hear about the interesting experience, but for anyone listening who does not know what this means, because I think past lives still is, in the ether and it's not necessarily in the full culture. And I feel like I remember when my wedding in 2014, like right around my wedding, you were like doing a past life regression with my best friend Natalia. And I was like, you two are out of your goddamn minds. Fast forward post my accident and reading Many Lives, Many Masters
Yeah,
and
that's a
having this
great book.
such a good book. I mean,
Yeah.
that the Many Lives, Many Masters is like the spiritual gateway book, as they say, like marijuana is like the gateway drug. Like this is
Yes.
the spiritual gateway book, and it's hypnotherapy. In hypnotherapy, and we haven't gotten into this yet, but you regress people to maybe some early childhood memories, sometimes to like unclick or unlock or find the root of an issue or a fear or a phobia
Yes.
or something that happened
Yes.
in their childhood.
Can I
Often,
can I elaborate on that right now?
please.
Okay. What I'm going to tell you right now is so typical of what happens in my office. And I'm going to give you an example of when I first started back in 95, 96. This woman called me on the phone. Back then they would call you on the phone. Uh, and here's what she said. She goes, I'm having this issue with driving my car. She goes, if I know where I'm going, wait till you hear the story. If I know where I'm going, I'm fine. But if I don't know where I'm going, I become very anxious, very upset. Now, next week, my daughter has a cheerleading competition, and I know I can't drive there. This is before GPS, by the way. I know I can't drive there. So I got to get somebody else to drive. Do you think you could help me with this? I said, sure, come on in. So she's sitting in front of me, and I said, do you know why you feel this way? And she said, no, I've always felt uncomfortable driving, but I don't know why. So in the session, we did something that's termed regression, and that's just going back into your memory bank. And there's a real simple technique that I was taught how to get to the root of these problems. A hypnosis session, by the way, is one of the most relaxing experiences you're ever going to have. I just relax. I put my hypnosis voice on, and I help people just relax by counting backwards and having them imagine they're relaxing. And once you get relaxed like that, what happens is your subconscious mind opens up. And then you can get suggestions and information into your subconscious mind that will help change them. Okay, now, so once this woman gets relaxed, I had her explain this feeling of this fear. And the fear is always in the body somewhere. Sometimes it's in the person's stomach or in their chest. I've had people tell me the fear, they feel it in their head. And I have them focus on the fear. Now, the reason I'm telling you this now, because it just amazes me how this works. So they're focusing on the fear, and I have them just keep focusing on the fear. And then I count back from 10 to 1 with the instructions. We're going to go back and see where this takes us to see what the cause of this is. So I'm counting back from 10 to 1, and I'm telling them, just keep focusing on the feeling of the fear. Focus on the feeling. And I count back, and then we go back, and then I literally touch their third eye gently, and I say, first impression, daytime or nighttime. And then they start talking. A memory comes into their mind. And whatever the memory is, now in this particular case with this woman, all of a sudden she goes, oh, I'm in a car. I'm 10 years old. I'm sitting in the back of my parents' car next to me, my little 10-year-old girlfriend, dad driving, mom over here on the passenger side, little 10-year-old girl in the back. They're going to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on vacation. They're from the Philadelphia area, and it's nighttime, and the parents got lost. The parents got lost in this car. And in the process of getting lost, they got into this big fight. One of these fights blown out of proportion, screaming, yelling, cursing. The little 10-year-old girl sitting in the back, she's horrified. The most powerful people she knows, her parents. They're lost. They're fighting. They're out of control. And she's embarrassed how they're acting in front of the 10-year-old girlfriend. This is called the initializing event, okay? So this event is in her mind. It's in the 10-year-old part of her mind. Now, as a hypnotherapist that knows what they're doing, all we have to do is help the 10-year-old realize she can be safe. How do we do that? There's a lot of ways of doing it, but inner child work, we have the 10-year-old girl realize she's safe. I go through a whole bunch of steps to make the 10-year-old realize she's safe. Now, wait to hear this. Once the 10-year-old realizes she's safe, she feels totally different. And when she feels totally different, the fear is gone. And when the fear is gone in the 10-year-old, the fear is gone in the adult. And in a nutshell, that's it. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but in a nutshell, that changes how she feels. And once that happens, the person feels differently. And now she can drive where I did one session with her. She could drive wherever she wants now. But that, again,
that's so awesome.
It's typical. It goes back to an initializing event. Mm-hmm. And it could be anything. It could be something obscure sometimes. Mm-hmm. And once we work on that, it changes. Now, this is what I was taught in hypnosis school. A thought is like a hologram. What does that mean? Well, let's picture a dollar bill as a hologram. All right. If you tear off a corner of that dollar bill, all the information in the hologram is exactly the same. So even that corner, it's like a DNA code. You think of all that information is the same. So if that dollar bill is a thought, and the thought of that dollar bill was afraid of driving someplace, but we introduced new information to that, we changed the thought permanently. Once that thought is changed permanently, where it's not afraid anymore, it's perfect. She's not afraid anymore. She feels differently. So that's at the thought level how it works. You're introducing new information to a thought, permanently changes, boom, you feel differently. And that's one of the reasons I love this work. You can take somebody that, I mean, I've worked with people that have been in therapy 25 years plus, and within a couple sessions, they didn't want to go to therapy anymore. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with therapy. I think cognitive therapy can be very helpful and very good and very productive. And I just think it's very positive. But sometimes you just keep talking and talking and talking, and maybe you're ready to make a move. Now, it's okay to talk all the time too. But sometimes you want to go, you know what? I'm tired of talking about this. I want to feel differently about it. And then you come to somebody like me. Okay.
Or yeah, right. Sometimes the root of the cause is deeper than what you can remember when you're just doing cognitive therapy.
Exactly.
So, okay. So speaking of that, so you ended up doing a past life regression. So in Many Lives, Many Masters, it starts with talk therapy, and then it goes into an inner child regression, basically inner child work. And she's still anxious, and they end up doing past life regression. And it was like an accident. He rolls into doing this past life regression by accident. And she starts talking about memories she's had in past lives. And basically over and over and over, she's doing this. And she, a short time later walks out of his office, and she is like no longer anxious, and she's like radiating light, and she feels incredible. So the idea of a past life, though, is that, when we die, we go back to wherever we go, and then we come back into another body and we do it again.
Yes.
Which is like a, reincarnation. Not everybody's on board with this, but
that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
That's okay. So tell us about your experience, your first ever past life regression, when you were kind of like rolling your eyes at it.
Okay. Well, I was in the class, we did a past life regression. And I go, okay. And the information that I gleaned from this past life regression was I had recently broken up with someone who I was engaged to at the time. And
I remember.
It was really, I thought it was a good decision. And what the past life regression basically just said, yes, that was a good decision. That was a great decision for you to make. And interestingly enough, there was a woman in the class that's all she did was past life regressions, because the instructor introduced her. So when the class was over, I literally ran over to her and I go, can I ask you a question? She goes, yeah. And I told her about it. She goes, I go, do you think it really happened? And she said to me, did you get something out of it? I said, yes. She goes, does it really matter? And I go, well, I didn't think about it like that. I go, yeah, okay. So whether it did happen or not, it didn't matter. But the thing I love about it is that past life regression is usually done for a spiritual purpose, because you will learn something about your past lives. And one of my spiritual teachers now, David R. Hawkins, said, we're all here to enhance our karma, refresh our karma, make the karma happier, healthier, more loving, more unconditional loving. And that message, really communicated to me. I mentioned David O. Hawkins. He's one of my spiritual teachers. I was turned on to him by Wayne Dyer. And I don't know if this is the appropriate time to talk about that or not, but Wayne Dyer recommended a book. And this book changed my life. It's called Power versus Force. All right. Wayne Dyer, who was a spiritual teacher, I would go to his seminars when he was in the Philly area, and he recommended the book. This was 2004. This is an interesting story in itself. So I get the book in 2004 and I start reading it. And I was like, oh, and I kind of put it away. And I wait to hear this. I put it in my nightstand and it got pushed back and I forgot about it. 4 years later, 2008, I'm in my nightstand and I found the book. And I started reading it again and I could not put it down. I could not put this book down. I go, oh my gosh. It's like I wasn't 100% ready for the message in 2004, but in 2008 I was. And what's the message? There's a spiritual value to everything we do, spiritual value. And this man, David R. Hawkins, created a scale from 0 to 1,000, a scale where he could calibrate the spiritual value. And I'll give you an idea, and you'll catch on right away when I say this. Like Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, like 1,000, okay? Hitler, 54, okay? Hate is like, 91. Envy is like 126, all right? Courage is 200. And like love is 500. Joy is like 600. So what do these numbers mean? He created this scale, and what he teaches in the book is you want to be above 200 for spiritual, to be spiritual. Well, what do you want to be spiritual for? Well, guess what? When you're above 200, you vibrate, your energy vibrates at a certain level. And that's what you want. Now, why do you want to do that? Well, first of all, for health reasons. Anyone that really has studied health starts to learn that if you have negative information inside your brain, if you're vibrating with negative feelings, hate, anger, that is not healthy at all for us. You have to let that go. And he teaches you in the book, he just teaches you the scale. And once I saw these words in the scale, I never thought of it. I never conceived of anything like that there's a scale. And I said to myself, well, you want to be above 200 here, pal. To me, I'm saying this to myself. And I don't know if you remember this, Laura, but that Christmas, all three of my children got a copy of
I still have it. Yes.
Yeah. All three of them got a copy. I think at this point, I think they may have all read it by now. I know Mike did. I'm sure you probably did.
I've skimmed it. I wouldn't say I read it cover to cover.
Okay. All right. And I
but it might be worth jumping back in. And actually, Kristen Bridge on this podcast mentioned the emotional frequency scale.
Yes, she did. You've heard the expression aha moment. And oh my gosh, I learned so much from that. Well, I love to share this. Like when my hypnosis clients come in, I always share this with them. Because if they get something out of it, if they get just a fraction out of it, what happened to me with my own life, it's just life-changing. I'm watching David R. Hawkins in one of his seminars, and I heard him say this. He said, all life is in a constant state of creation and evolution. He said, creation and evolution are the exact same thing. But then he said, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Who are you to say it shouldn't be this way? You're going to tell the creator of the universe it shouldn't be this way? And when I heard him say that, I'm like, I was supposed to have that biological father that never gave me a birthday card or a Christmas card and ignored me. I was supposed to get divorced in 91. I was supposed to get screwed out of that money in 93. I was supposed to meet the woman of my dreams in 95. I'm supposed to be on Laura's podcast right now. It's like, what? And what I got out of that was acceptance. And that instantaneously freed me from anything from the past. Anything, anyone, any event. It's like my whole body just went whoosh. And I literally felt this palatable energy flow through my body at that moment. It was like, oh my gosh, I am free. And I felt this incredible feeling of openness and just energy and flowing and just acceptance. And it was just liberating and literally changed my life. You can't be bitching about what happened yesterday. It's yesterday. It's gone. There's nothing we can do about it. You can just make the best out of your situation. And that just changed my entire life and attitude on the spot. On the spot, it was like, oh my gosh, it was great. It was just a great thing. I mean, many, many years ago, I got into like a heated argument with politics with my brother-in-law. I would never do that now. Never. God bless you. Whatever you want to think, God bless you. That's fine. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay if we think differently. It's okay. We're all evolving. We're all moving. And there is a bigger trend now in spirituality than there's ever been in the history of the world, based on the calibrations of this man's book, Power versus Force. And it's just great. It's just really great. Now, we're all human beings. So there might be something that happens, something that comes up, but you catch yourself. I had a situation, I don't know, a couple of years ago where I was doing this computer work. I had 2 hours of computer work in. Somehow it deleted. I couldn't get it back. I'm like, what the? And I was using the F word and I started cursing. And like my wife is going, are you okay? Because she never hears me act like that. And then I realized it's okay. So it was a few minutes. I was a little insane. I took some deep breaths. I go, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. And once you have that attitude, once you can control yourself like that, and that goes into, the laws of the mind that I teach my clients that I love to share, and the basic law of the mind. And I can ask you, Laura, but you know the answer. What's your single greatest power? I ask all my clients this. What is your single greatest power? And Laura, what is your single greatest power?
You know the answer? The choice. Of course I do.
Yes.
Of course I do. The power to choose your thoughts.
The power to choose your thoughts. What does that mean? The power to choose your thoughts. Because if you have the power to choose your thoughts, you can constantly choose loving, happy, positive, happy thoughts, confident thoughts. Yeah. Once you can do that, boom, you're in. What are the 2 most important words you think or say? I've had people say,
oh, I am.
I
right?
am.
Right.
Yeah. Why is I am? Because whatever follows I am is something we live up to or live down to. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because the number one trait of the human mind, our minds always go in the direction of our thoughts. What we think about, what we hold in mind, we tend to manifest. That's not me saying this. Spiritual masters, motivational teachers have said this for the millennia. Mm-hmm. So, you have to be aware of what you're saying. And just hearing this now,
and thinking and talking to how you're talking to yourself.
Oh, yeah. Self-talk. It's the most important thing.
Yeah.
How we communicate with ourselves. Now, just hearing this is going to make you be more cognizant of this. Just hearing this now is going to be helpful to you. And I learned that from David R. Hawkins. Just hearing this stuff is going to help you be more.
Well, you keep saying you learned it from David R. Hawkins, but I was a child before you read this book, and you were saying things to me like, don't use the word hate. So I just want to point out that yes, you have never been the guy that's been like ranting or complaining. Like I don't remember you ever really complaining as a kid. I feel like I remember you using the F word like one time in the back of the car. And I can't remember what it was about, but you were like angry one time in my childhood. Like that's it. And
that's good.
So I know that this book maybe opened you up a little bit more, or like gave you some maybe tangible things to say and talk about.
I have to say this. That one time I was angry in the car.
You already know what it is.
I did it intentionally to give you, your brother was in the car with you.
Yeah.
Yes. I did it intentionally. I don't remember specifically what it was for. There was a lesson underneath of it about something, either hard work or paying attention, or it was a lesson underneath. And the reason I did that was because just to really get your attention. And so I really only did it one time, and you still remember it. Whether you remember what it was or not was another thing. I don't
remember what it was.
But that's okay. But as a child, you did. So let's put it that way.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I am so happy that you're involved in this kind of work.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, obviously, it's been like ingrained from a young age. We're like, we jumped around in kind of like the best way, but you talk in your book, Hypnotize Yourself.
Yeah.
You talk about your inner advisor.
Yes.
And I thought that was an interesting way to, and I'm assuming making assumptions here, but I'm assuming this is like what like modern day or what like maybe my generation would call your intuition or your higher self.
Hmm.
And I'm just curious because like we are obviously this is like a multi-generational
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
And you're people that you have been looking up to spiritually. I also look up to spiritually, but I do feel like there's like a little bit, like not like a disconnect, but like there's a little bit of like just like a generational divide on how we are defining things like psychics or inner advisors. And I'm curious what you would say
Hmm.
about
Well,
your
there's
inner advisor.
um, the inner advisor to me. I mean, but I think there's always an evolution on names or branding or
Yeah,
labels. So
sure.
that's I think that's a constant thing. I think as long as people still get the meaning of it, I just think that's the important thing. As far as inner advisor goes, there's a hypnosis session that I do called the Inner Advisor, and I learned this in hypnosis school, and it's really awesome. It's when you're in one of these situations where maybe you're not sure what to do. You feel like you're at a crossroad. You don't know if you should do A or B, uh, or you're trying to decide how you should interpret something. You're just not 100% sure. I love this Inner Advisor. And by the way, it's available on my website as well, in my
Hmm.
positive store. It's about a 30-minute session where you just relax, you're just listening, you get very calm and very relaxed. And they're having you imagine you're like on a beach and you're sitting on this beach and you just feel so safe and so comfortable and so relaxed. And then there's no one on the beach but you. You're by yourself. And then you see something like to your left coming up the beach, and you feel very calm about this, and you know that you have like a question or something in your mind, and this being, it can be a person. Sometimes people told me it's like a cloud or just an energy field that comes up to them, and they send them this love, this feeling of love and acceptance, but they're there for them, and you can ask them anything you want, and you get answers. That's the cool part. It's like you ask them something and then something gets communicated to you. Now, is that something that's coming from the universe? Where else could it be coming from? I don't know. A spiritual guide? Could be. I'm not 100% sure where it comes from. I just know that people get information. Maybe it comes from within them some way. Some information comes out of them. That I'm not 100% sure how. All I know is it works. People get something out of it. They learn something about themselves and they make a choice about something. And it's positive, it's helpful, and it's great. It's called your inner advisor.
It's kind of like a guided meditation.
Yes. Well, that's
It is a guided meditation.
here's
Or
here's the
yeah.
thing. What is a guided meditation? A guided meditation is where they have you close your eyes, do
Yeah.
some breathing and relax. It's self-hypnosis. It's just they're not using the word self-hypnosis. I did guided meditations way before I got involved in hypnosis. I
Hmm.
did guided meditations. I would listen
Hmm.
to something relaxing, and
Hmm.
it's self-hypnosis, still the same thing.
Don't you still do that? Do you still do that?
Oh yeah, I enjoy it. I
Do you
try to
listen to
do it.
yourself or do you listen to other people?
Uh, Typically, I listen to myself because I know I like what I say. I like what I'm going
Yeah.
to say, and I can do it I try to do it for every day for like 20 minutes if I can fit it in, and sometimes it'll be 30 minutes. Um, I mean, it's part of my protocol, and if we get into like aging backwards,
Well,
that's
yeah.
one of the
I mean,
ingredients.
yeah. So being, your daughter and watching you live your life, you're happy, you are in a relationship that fills you up, you like love your job,
I
you're
love my kids. I
you
love
love
my
your kids.
grandchildren.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't want to give you a big head because I reserve the right to roll my eyes at you at all times because you are my dad. But
I
you
accept that.
you're a great role model. And you've been a
Thank you.
great role model.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
you just turned 72 like last month. And you look good, you feel good,
Yeah.
you move. How many push-ups did you do push-ups on your birthday? You always do like, did you do 72 push-ups on your birthday? I feel like that's a thing that you've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep, I work out. One of the things about aging backwards is, well, over COVID, let me share how I got into that. Over COVID, when I had free time, literally, I mean, all of a sudden there was no comedy. There was no hypnosis clients. There was nothing for a while. There was like just blank space.
And I would say that's just like, I want to be specific about this. This is for like your age group with like kids out of the house, because there were
Yeah.
working parents that were working and had young kids, and we're in a very, very
Yes.
different space during COVID. I
Yes.
just want to like
Yes.
call that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me personally, I had
Yes.
free time. That's when I
Yeah.
started writing the book. And the other thing that I said was, how can I live longer? How can I maximize my health? How can I have more energy? Now, you know that I went through a situation in my life, like about 20 some years ago, even longer, where I had chronic fatigue. I was like, I got to the point where I couldn't lift my head. I missed weddings. I missed funerals. I was down to like 120 pounds. I was just terrible. I went to 7 different doctors, 3 different states, was on 4 different types of medication. None of it worked. None of it helped. Then I started going alternative. And once I started going alternative, I found a woman that really was able to at least help me get back on my feet. It was Chinese medicine, was acupuncture, something called Tuina, which is this massage of the meridians. And she had me do this green drink every day with like kale and celery and all kinds of healthy stuff, ginger. I put in this and make a blender drink every day. And the other thing I recall was like stay away from dairy at the time. So I did those moves, and eventually, and it took some time, I got better and I was healthier. But once I started studying this, here's what I found out in a nutshell. There's a couple of basic things we can do to optimize our health. First of all, and I know you're going to remember this, Laura, sugar is poison.
Yeah.
I knew sugar was poison, but I didn't know how much poison it was until I actually researched it over COVID. There's no nutritional value in it whatsoever. None. It's just negative. It's negative once it gets into your body. It doesn't help you at all. So if that's the case, why should you consume it? Well, it's because, we started doing it and they put it in so many foods. It's just, I didn't know this. One bagel equals 9 teaspoons of sugar. One bagel. Slice of pizza, like 8 teaspoons of sugar. What? I didn't know any of that. And when sugar is in your body, those carbs turn into sugar and it doesn't maximize your health. So what I started doing was more of a ketogenic diet, which is low carb, protein, healthy fats like avocados, olive oil, MCT oil, fish oil, cod liver oil, healthy fats, those kind of things. So I started doing that. And that really definitely helped me. And also something called intermittent fasting. Now, honestly, if someone would have said to me at COVID that you're going to fast for 24 hours, I tell them they were out of my mind. I've done 3-day fasts 4 times now. Now, what the heck is that about? Fasting is one of the healthiest things you can do for yourself. Why? It cleans out your body. It's called autophagy is the technical name. It just means your cells clean themselves out. I didn't know any of this, but when you fast, you clean your body out. It's one of the healthiest things you could do. Like once a month, you should at least do a 1-day fast.
So I not to like debunk you here, but I do want to mention, I just was listening to this Mel Robbins podcast literally right before this.
I like Mel.
Yeah, so she had this woman on, this like Stanford teacher. She's an expert and a researcher. Has written like over 140 papers, researcher on health and fitness, and specifically about women. Because what I'll say is like what is out there in the zeitgeist is mostly geared towards men and men's bodies. And her whole thing is like women are not.
What did she say?
She said women are not small men.
Yeah.
We are biologically different. We have different chromosomes, and like these cold plunges and the fasting and working out on an empty stomach, like all those things are great for men.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of research, and there's not a lot out there that is like saying this is for women. It should be different for women. It should be different because of X, Y, and Z. And again, I'm only 20. I'm 20 minutes into the podcast, but I thought that was really interesting because there is a lot out there. And, I think I hear a lot of couples and friends will together do something like that together. They'll do like a fitness
Yeah.
challenge or they'll do like an intermittent fasting. And like the guy will be like, "Ooh, I feel clear. I feel good. I feel strong." And then we'll be like, "I feel wired and like I don't feel
Ah.
as good.
Mm.
Like, why do you
Yeah.
feel better? Why is it working for you?" But it's because,
Yeah.
and also the hormones in our bodies, and especially like premenopausal, menopausal, like
Hmm.
we need different things. We need
Yeah.
different things. So I do think like that has worked so well for you. I know that it works
Yeah.
for Mike, my brother. I know that it's
Hmm.
worked for other people, but
Yeah.
I just think it's just interesting to note because I think I have a lot of female listeners, and I
Well,
just
with
want
that
to,
said,
yeah,
everybody should always do and try any of these things. You see how you feel. You see if it's going to work
yes,
for you.
for sure.
But that's really interesting. I hadn't heard that before
Yeah,
about
I'll send you
women.
the podcast. And I'll link it in the show notes too here
Oh,
because I think
good, good.
it's a really good one for everyone. What I love that you have done though is you
Mm.
have like done that. You have tried a bunch of different things. You have tried a lot. You have perfected a routine in your life that is full of balance. Like you
Mm.
move your body almost every day.
Oh yeah,
You meditate almost every day. You find you walk with your wife. You have that connection and you get
almost every day.
outside almost every day. You watch Jeopardy almost every day, which is like you're having
Yeah, my wife
fun.
and I love playing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have fun. You have this and like
Yeah,
again, I'd like to note you're at a stage in your life where you like don't have like kid responsibilities. You're not running all over the place and like you don't have a
yeah,
4-year-old at home.
yeah. Right, of
Like do you think
course.
so that's an easier time to like really perfect
Yeah,
that routine that makes sense for you. But I
yeah,
still think, it's like it's goals. It's like it's what you want. You want to figure out how you can make
yeah.
your routine work for you in a way that
Yes.
like really
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
fulfilling
Mm.
and feels balanced and feels happy and healthy and
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and I love it. I love working out. I love lifting weights. I love it. I enjoy
Yeah.
it. So it's part. In other words, it's a priority.
Yeah.
So
It fills your cup.
to age backwards, you need to have your priority. What's your priority? I want to feel great. Okay, I want to feel great as long as I possibly can. So when I play with my grandsons, I'm going to be able to play with them. I'm not going to be able to sit back and go, I can't do that. No, I don't want to do that. I want to play.
Yeah. Totally. It's great. We
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
We need some extra babysitters, so come on over. Well, another thing that I remember, you were like an early adopter of Louise Hay.
Oh, God, do I
So
love
this is
her.
like well before David R. Hawkins.
Yes.
But Louise Hay, I mean, this is Louise Hay for people that don't know. Maybe you would do better at explaining who she is.
Okay. Well, she wrote this great story. This was a woman back in the like 70s who just wanted to help people. And she was from like a broken home, and her stepfather like sexually abused her. She had all kinds of things, but she just made a point to make her life good. That was like her goal. So I'm gonna make my life good. And she started just talking to people about how to improve their lives. And the book that she wrote, The Power is Within You.
Yeah.
And it shows you how, the power is within us. And she goes through her life step by step, the different things that she learned. And one of the things that she learned that I've shared with a lot of my clients over the years are parents are doing the best they can with what they have. They're not perfect, okay? They're
Mm.
doing the best they can with what they have. All right. So that's forgiving, that's accepting. All right. They're not trying to screw us up. Sometimes they may have done things that, we wouldn't do as parents or we didn't particularly like as a kid. And that's okay. So that was a good message in that book that I learned from her. Parents doing the best they can with what they have. It's an awesome book. I highly recommend it. I probably recommended it 1,000 times over the last 29 plus years
She
here.
also wrote something called You Can Heal Your Life,
Yes.
which is a great one. And then she's a big
Yes.
fan. And I feel like maybe like, did she create that mirror work? Like mirror work, she was like,
Yes.
mirror work was like, that's the thing. That's the thing that I remember as a kid, which I also, so mirror work, if you don't know, it's like looking in the mirror and looking at yourself in the eyes and saying to yourself,
I love you.
I love you.
The first time I did that, it was like, I love you.
It's so hard to do. And
But
I
I can
remember
do it
as a
now.
kid, so as a kid, you had us listening to these audiobooks. And I remember like, I remember it was like about a duck or an ugly duck, and like the duck was looking in the mirror. The duck was saying "I love you" to itself, and I remember thinking as a kid how awkward that sounds and how
Yeah.
awkward that would be. I remember trying it a couple times and being like, it's not for me. At the Ellen show when I was there, we did a show called Fearless with Ashley Graham where we
Yeah.
did mirror work with someone that we brought on. And it's just like it's beautiful work, but it is so hard to do.
Initially,
Initially, sure. It's
it's
so hard to get, and it
usually a
feels so
challenge initially.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Initially, you definitely have that experience usually.
Yeah. But it's so good. It's just like it's a good it's still hard to do. I feel like it's so hard to do, but it's like why is it so hard?
Yeah. Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's just
Yeah,
it's a good
it's
thing. It's something easy you can try.
Yeah. Yeah, that's in the book The Power is Within You by Louise Haye. Look in the mirror, and I'm like, yeah, it's a great book. I highly recommend it. It's just great. Great vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she teaches in Hero Your Life is like how important it is to have the healthy vibration in your body.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, we're jumping around, but we talked about your past life regression. What do you think happens when we die?
Well, the way I see it, the body goes away and the soul, I don't know exactly where it goes, but it's going to go someplace. The soul is, I don't know if there's a soul bank up there or soul heaven. The soul is up there, and then it waits for the next turn or the next body to come around, and it's going to get in the next body. And you keep evolving till you get to a certain point. And I think I heard Hawkins say this. At some point when you keep evolving high enough, there's other realms above that. I don't have any idea what they are. I'm still here in this human realm. So there's other realms apparently that the spirit goes to. And I to me, that's just an awesome, amazing thought. But so I try to be, as loving and happy and positive as I can and helpful. So if I can be like that, if I condition myself to be like that, that's a good vibe. I'm helping other people. And apparently I'm going to help that soul.
I love it. I love it. I love it so much. It's so funny because we never talked about that until I feel like after I listened to Many Lives, Many Masters. I feel like you never, well, and that's not true. I mean, I guess maybe we did talk about it when you did a past life regression with Natalia.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready yet.
That's okay. I totally get it. And that's good because we're all evolving, so we're all going through this. We're all learning. And we all know there's people out there that aren't interested in any of this. And that's okay. That's okay. If they don't like
totally
it,
fine.
That's fine.
I like what Kristen said. She was like, they're on a different trip. I was like, they're on a different trip.
Exactly.
A different trip. Talking about hypnosis and talking about the subconscious. So I've heard you describe that we have three brains, three types of brains.
You have three minds.
Three minds. There are three minds. So can you kind of explain that?
Three minds.
The conscious mind is something that we would like. That's right now. We're using the conscious mind right now.
Yeah. It's conscious, subconscious, unconscious. What's the unconscious mind do? It runs the things out of our awareness, heart beating, eyes blinking, things we're not paying attention to. The subconscious, that's the heart of your emotions. Mm-hmm. That's where your program is. If you're ever crying or upset about something, your subconscious mind is open. Okay. It's open. What's that mean? You're more suggestible about anything. Okay?
Oh, your subconscious mind is open when you are like in a high emotional state?
Yes.
Oh, I did not realize that.
Yes. So you're a little more suggestible.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
My mind, I
was going to say, children, their subconscious mind is an open book until they're around 10 years old. Pretty much anything you say to a child is going right into their subconscious. So that's why
there's so much conditioning that happens when you're a kid.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important that parents pay attention to what they're saying to their children and how they're acting in front of their children.
Yes.
Everything. But I heard someone say once, when you're raising your children, it's like how you're acting and how you're acting in front of them is more important than what you say. How they see you act every day and live every day is more important than anything. That sends the message to them of, what they're capable of, what they can do. And it's just a good positive message if you're really, positive and loving with your kids all the time. Well, we're human beings, so sometimes a kid needs to be yelled at. It's as simple as that.
Right, I know. It's like we're in the gentle parenting
Yeah,
age right now,
yeah, we are.
which is I think great. It's great. And also it's like also hard. It's also really hard to do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You probably heard it, but it's really funny. When I was a young child, um, if I would start whining or crying about something, my mom would say, "I'll give you something to cry about."
Yeah.
And that would make you think and go, "Oh, I'm going to stop." I'm going to share one story about
Yeah.
my mom.
Yeah,
I
my
I
grandmother, my Italian grandmother.
I distinctly remember this, and I still remember it, and it left an indelible impression in my mind as a child. And I never had to use it with you and your brothers because you never said you were bored. But I was like in second grade, and I remember, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was acting like I was moping around. My mom says, "What's the matter with you?" I go, "I don't know, I'm bored." She goes, "What? No one is bored around here. You go outside and play right now." Oh, okay. So I went outside and played, and I was never bored again.
Oh my gosh. I know. I mean, Will's in a stage where he's saying that now, and I'm just like, ugh, you're not bored. Once they move past the first few minutes of like not knowing,
Yeah.
then they find something. Like
Yes,
there's an
exactly.
uncomfortable couple minutes, and it's like you turn off the screen, and it's like there's an uncomfortable couple minutes where they're like pushing against that,
Yeah.
and then like they're playing like a
Yes.
couple minutes later, and they figure it
Yeah.
out. But one thing that you mentioned in your book that I really liked was talking about anchors.
Oh, yeah. Anchors. Anchor.
Anchors, like
That.
anchoring into, and I love this because Kristen said this in the episode about, unlocking your inner psychic, about anchoring into the frequency of love, peace, and love. And
Oh, I
I
love that.
loved that.
Now, I was taught this by Tony Robbins, who I've seen twice live.
Hmm.
I have an autographed picture of him.
Oh,
Tony Robbins, the motivational
oh
speaker,
my
back
God.
in the 90s.
Classic boomer autograph picture.
Yeah, back in the 90s, I used to see him. I read his books. He's terrific. Um, he taught me neuro-linguistic programming. Have you ever heard of that?
I mean, I think maybe just you wrote about it in your book, right?
NLP.
Yeah.
It's just a process of realizing that everything goes through our nervous system, whether we like it or not.
Mm.
Everything goes through our nervous system. So a typical anchor for a person would be like a picture of their family. You see a picture of your family, there's a certain feeling that gets generated.
Mm.
Or the American flag, certain feeling that gets generated with a person.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that feeling is, that's an anchor. That's something you would see. When you see a picture of a little baby, you have a certain feeling. Baby anchor. It's an anchor. What's that anchor? There's a feeling inside of you. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is an anchor. Now you can have negative anchors. What's a negative anchor? Well, if you have a negative feeling about a person or a thing, I don't want to get political, but there are some people that just see a picture of Donald Trump and they have a negative feeling. So that would be a negative anchor to them. Okay.
And I would just say the association of the American flag sometimes now is like coupled with that. But
it's still an anchor. It's still an anchor.
It's sure. Totally.
Yeah.
Whatever you're feeling about it.
Whatever. Okay. Now wait to hear this. All right. Now you can take these feelings, these anchors, and I do this in my hypnosis sessions sometimes, depending on the circumstances of what a person is working on, and they have an anchor. Something happened to them where they felt very positive, and they have these feelings in their body. And what we do is I anchor those feelings by touching part of their shoulder. Usually I'll touch a person's shoulder. I'll touch their right shoulder, and I'm touching the right shoulder while they're thinking and feeling the feelings, okay? Now, what does that do? That is causing, it seems crazy, but it like creates a button. Like I keep touching that shoulder, then I have them think about other positive things, other positive memories, and I keep touching the shoulder. So after a while of doing this, when they're relaxed, all I have to do is touch the shoulder and positive memories will come back. Positive information will come to them, positive feelings. So that's a positive anchor. Now, Go to the next shoulder and put the negative in, whatever the negative is. If they're afraid of something, if they're fearful about something, if they're anxious about something, whatever that is, whatever that anchor is, put that on this shoulder. Okay. Now this is right out of Neurolinguistics Programming 101, this technique. Then you press on both at the exact same time. And you lead the client into the situation where you're like, I have them imagine they're walking down a path and they come to a fork in the path and they have to make a choice. And you'll see one path looks kind of dark and dingy and one path looks kind of bright and cheery. And then you have to make a choice. Then at that moment, I touch both anchors at the exact same time. And what happens is that strong anchor overpowers the weak one. And it changes them at a neurological level because of the physical touch. And it sounds almost kind of crazy, but it works. It absolutely works. And it helps people shift some kind of negative energy, negative feeling, or fearful, whatever it is, anxiety. It can absolutely dissolve it. Now, what does that do? And it goes back to something I said earlier about how every thought is like a hologram. So if the thought is a hologram, and it's a fearful thought, we just added some positive information to it via touching, it changes it. And once it's changed, they feel differently.
I just had Valerie Maya on, who is an intuitive energy healer, and she talks a lot about limiting beliefs and, you know, how we are energies, we are expansive energy.
Yes.
And we harbor these limiting beliefs for various reasons. Maybe it's our sponge as a child. Can hypnosis help us to let go of some of those limiting beliefs?
If anything is between a person's ears, if they want to change it, hypnosis can help them. So everything's basically between our ears one way.
Yeah, right. Right.
That's why I really love the work. It's just so much fun to help people take control of their lives. I'm going to do this until I basically can't breathe anymore here. I'll be like 100 years old, maybe. I'll still be doing it. If somebody wants help with it, I'm going to help them.
It will be very cute, little 100-year-old Andy Scar doing hypnosis work. Dad, thank you so much for coming on the Woo Report. This was so fun.
This was an absolute joy. I'm so happy that you're doing this.
Yay,
it was so much fun to be on this. Thank you, sweetheart. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Thank you for listening to The Woo Report. For way more woo-woo, please follow and subscribe to the Woo Report podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you love to listen. Never miss an episode of The Woo Report by joining the community at thewooreportpodcast.com. Thank you for liking, sharing, rating, and loving on this little slice of magic. I am so, so grateful you are here. Bye.